It's time for our home Grand Prix in this F125 My Team career mode. Once again, driving as ourselves as the owner driver, coming off the back of a slightly wet and wild Austrian Grand Prix where an early red flag saw us have a very slippery restart in dry to damp conditions, and by the end the sun was beaming down on Max Verstappen, crossing the line in first place to become the second repeat winner of the season, and a much needed win for him to maybe reset a little bit after, you know, some shaky races at Monaco and Canada. And as you can clearly see going into this episode, we are in the traditional British racing green and yellow colours of Lotus Racing. This is the OG colour scheme of Lotus in Formula 1, the British racing green, the iconic yellow to go alongside it, and then we've got a lot of our sponsors in white. It certainly looks like a very classical color scheme, especially when you compare it to our usual black and gold. It looks like a bit of a throwback to the 1950s, and so we have got that nice classic look for the British Grand Prix, and it's fantastic to be leading both championships going into the team's home race and our own individual home race, but plenty of competition behind as we go into Q1. And off the rip, immediately as I loaded into my flying lap, there's someone who's ended their session. It's the Cadillac of Martins, who has a crash with the Audi in towards nearly Luffield. Didn't quite make it to Luffield, Victor Martins, and so a very peculiar DNF in qualifying. It's a bit of a rarity really on the F1 game to see a big crash and a DNF like that. Of course, we had our fair share of chaos in the Spanish Grand Prix with Leclerc putting someone in the gravel basically, and then we had our own incident with Paul Aaron, was it? But a whole DNF in qualifying all on their own, you know, nothing to do with me, of course, like in the case of Aaron. That is a bit of a rarity. So yeah, a little bit of mayhem, but we're all fine, we're through, and surprisingly showing some good pace there in P1, because if you've been following along with F125, you'll know that Silverstone's actually been a bit of a bogey circuit for yours truly, and also just a really difficult race, I think, with the AI being so quick and so consistent in the race, let alone in quali. So I was surprised to be right up there, but at the same time we saw a Toyota and a Williams Porsche right up there, so it was a bit of a topsy-turvy Q1 with I think it was both Mercedes being knocked out, I think it was, in that Q1 session. Into Q2 we're trying to get into the top 10 shootout simply, but we're a bit slower than Albon and Leclerc that time, maybe not as quick as we were in Q1. Perhaps that may have just been the best lap we're going to do all day as we're pushing to try and find some more time a little bit deep into village, but also trying to get the rotation right, but kind of clouting the curb and losing a bit of time after we gained some by, you know, navigating that section a little bit better. And then through the final corner, a little bit more deployment, running out of battery actually, we're deployed so much at the end, and that gets us up into 6th place and secures ourselves into the top 10. But Verstappen comes out swinging over half a second quicker than myself, but Paul Aaron, a bit of a surprise, and usual stuff for Williams Porsche. I suspect they'll be going backwards in the race. Doesn't really matter where they are, but surprise, surprise, Russell, Leclerc, Bortoletto, all up there, but also joined by a Toyota of Soloff and Honda with Maloney. So that's going to be interesting as well to see those teams maybe fighting to maybe, you know, push one of us down the order in this top 10, as we only have one set of soft tyres this set, because I had to burn a second set in that Q2 session to get through, because that first lap we did wasn't going to be good enough. So this is it, basically. The pressure's on, and we've set a purple first sector, which is pretty promising. Middle sector wasn't as strong, but I still felt like it was pretty decent. But let's see, we've actually maybe overused battery a bit in the opening bit of the lap, and we're down to 5% and used way too much curb on that left-hander. That definitely compromised this, and that may just have lost us enough time to only be P6, 4/10 off. And by the end of it, it's just not the kind of quality you want at the home race, but it's the one we got. That last lap was a bit messy at the end. It was really good in the first part, but like I said, I think we overused battery, and then I tried to overcompensate by trying to clout the curb, and it just didn't work. So we're down to P9. Maloney and Sololoff have indeed pushed us down the order, but Verstappen is the big star. 1 second quicker than myself on pole position. I mean, that's great for him and the team to be, to see the British Racing Green on pole position. But for me, 1 second, that's a little bit crazy. We're going to have to make up for it in the race.
The home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bortoleto, Albon, Paul Aaron and Russell, Solov, Maloney, Button and Lance Stroll, Bashir, Gasly, Taylor Barnard and Lawson, O'Sullivan, Norris, Isaac Hadjar and Jack Doohan, Crawford, Fittipaldi, Martins and Pepe Marti completes the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Well, we welcome you to the broadcast. It's going to be some race today. First of all, introductions. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me for this one, Anthony Davidson. It feels like an obvious question, but I think everyone wants to know, at this stage, are you nervous or excited?
Probably at the start of a race, it's where your heart rate's at its highest in anticipation. And you've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be thinking there inside the car, what can go right? How can I be opportunistic rather than what can go wrong? And how do I protect my position? Look forward and stay positive. It's easy to say, very hard to do when you're in that position.
Quite the difference in time in the end in Q3, but it's not really representative. I feel like we could have been at least around P5 on this grid, so let's hope the race pace is going to pay out. It's going to be an interesting one here at Silverstone because the tyre wear is high this season, and for that reason I've gone for mediums, and it looks like the plan will be medium hard. I think a 2-stop for most people, to be honest. But some, as you can see, have chosen soft, including our own teammate Max Verstappen on pole has gone soft, which I feel like is very over-aggressive, like some mistakenly did in Austria. So I don't know how that's going to go. So maybe Verstappen might be on the back foot later on in this race. Let's see. I mean, initially he's going to be pretty damn quick off pole position as he looks towards those 5 red lights with no obstruction in front of him. Lights out and we're underway. We've got plenty of obstruction in front of us as we try and navigate through the Honda and Toyota. The Honda very aggressive with the inside. We had to lift off just to make contact, and we couldn't commit to the move we're trying to make on this Toyota as we try and feed this from left to right. Oh, nearly made contact, and that caught us out. We had to lift off and go off circuit there. I was a bit too eager on throttle, trying to get it round the outside of the Toyota, and instead we've gone down the order now. We're refighting Maloney in the Honda as it's Verstappen versus Bortoleto, and Bortoleto in the Ferrari may just dance right round the outside for P1. It is going to be P1. The Ferrari firing on all cylinders, and the Brazilian is up into first place as we try to get past Maloney. It's a very aggressive Cops corner for us, for cars ahead. I think Solov got squeezed out by Bashir as well. So Cops already being very aggressive for some as we just narrowly catch the car as it's a little bit off balance, and now Verstappen's getting swarmed. What's going on here? He's got completely swarmed, 3 wide. McLaren, Ferrari either side of the Dutchman, and he might be down to P4 on the soft compound. Yes, he is. What's going on? Is our car having an absolute mare today? He has gone from P1 to P4. That is very questionable. I'm very surprised at that. I really thought, okay, he's on the soft. At least he'll be quick for a couple of laps. But, well, what soft tyre has he used? Has he gone onto a soft at the start of the race that's already had like 5 laps on it? Because it looks that way. He's going just backwards and backwards as we try and finally finish off this move on Solov, but it's not working. We've got our own share of a lack of grip on the rear end. We couldn't get it round the outside of Luffield in the same way Bortoleto did. And oh, engine failure for Pierre Gasly. Big name out of this race. The Red Bull Ford is going to be a lone team with Russell. As well, Gasly's had his fair share of issues. You know, he had a slow car last episode as well, so the luck has not been on Pierre Gasly's side, and it has been with his newer teammate Russell. You know, first season back after a couple of years, first season for Red Bull Ford, and it's going his way and not the way of Pierre Gasly as we make quick work of Aaron. I mean, there's not much else to say about Williams Porsche so far this season. It's frankly embarrassing straight line speed and deployment from the Williams Porsche team. I mean, we've seen it before with Ferrari in Season 3. Some very weird oddity that can happen with the AI teams is, you know, season to season, things can change, and seemingly Williams have some sort of trait of a horrible battery for this season. The same cannot be said of the Scuderia. The prancing horses are absolutely waltzing away with this now. It's a 1-2. Albon's just got P1 there as he continues to try and get that elusive race win in this season, as we've got the Toyota on the outside of the Williams, and the Honda might come through. And look at the train that Aaron has. It's actually ridiculous. Look at that. It looks like F1 24, guys. Aaron with a huge train behind him, very reminiscent of the last F1 game, not the one we're currently on, as Albon and Bortoleto swapping again. The Brazilian back up into P1, but they've got Leclerc at an arm's length, but the McLaren is gaining under 1 second now, Leclerc is, so it might be McLaren versus two Ferraris. And meanwhile, well, for sure, he's overtaken Verstappen, and now we're going for the move on Verstappen. I feel like this is now Verstappen facing tyre wear. I don't know what happened in the opening laps, and for him to fall back so quickly, that's still a mystery. If it's a car issue, I'm not too sure. But that right there, the way we were able to dive bomb him, I think was the difference of medium to soft compound. Because lap 6, surely those softs are crying out at this moment in time, as Albon once again gets past Bortoleto. And Leclerc now is right up their chuff. But look at our tyres. Lap 7, and my mediums are brick orange. So Verstappen, for sure, Bortoleto, all on softs. Their tyre icon, if we could see their heads-up display, that would be like brick red, I would assume. So that's why we were so much quicker than Verstappen at that point. But I genuinely still don't know what happened in the opening laps. As I've said before, maybe it's just the fact we're at Silverstone, and Silverstone historically on the F1 25 game has not been a strong track for the My Team car, like, period. So whatever we do, we've just not had very strong races around here. You know, in the correct way around, or even the reverse version of Silverstone. It's been tough going as Albon, Leclerc, Russell continue on. There's been a few pit stops, but they're all going to have to maybe get through. A little bit of traffic here as Hadjar and Doohan face off. Is that? No, Hadjar and Aaron, sorry. Read that wrong on the timing ladder. Hadjar tries to have a go. Aaron's actually defended, and look, it's actually just comical, the train he's got. He's so slow, yet... What? For sure, what's happened there? For sure's just got off. Did Verstappen have something to do with that? Verstappen was right ahead of him. Did he squeeze him out? No, he's nowhere near anyone. The two Dutchmen were somewhat near to each other on track, but Vershaw is actually just all on his own, had an engine failure, and then that puff of smoke is kind of... Oh, okay, no. It looked like he slid off circuit, but it was just the fact he was perpendicular to the track, so it just looked a bit odd from the angle we saw live on the replay camera. So Vershaw is out. That's at least one free position then for yours truly and Verstappen, but yeah. The pace has not been looking amazing. Our tyre icon was red there as well, so very much for me, medium, hard this will be in terms of the race strategy, I would say, as Leclerc, Russell, Albon, they're all in as well. And it looks like some drivers maybe still be continuing on, so a bit of traffic to try and traverse. That might slow up Bortoleto. That's important for Ferrari's fight. And for Verstappen, well, I mean, if Verstappen gets slowed up, it won't really matter maybe, because we just got slowed up by 4.6 seconds on the pit stop. So we're down to P10. What's it going to be? Where's Verstappen? P11. He's coming through. We're going to be down to P11, and he's up to P10. So, yeah, we've actually lost out to Verstappen, despite him being in a bit of traffic. initially, but now they've all pit out of Verstappen's way, so clean air for him, and we now chase after our teammate. As we see at the top of the timing ladder, Leclerc leads, so he's not in yet then, surely. But Norris, Doohan, Fittipaldi, Martins, Marty, all not in yet. So are they going for a very audacious one-stop? Is that? So that would be very, very surprising for me, considering how much tyre wear we've seen on our own car with the mediums and the hards, to the point where you may have actually noticed I actually changed my strategy to hard tyres. I'm going to go for medium, hard, medium, just because I feel like with the lower fuel, maybe there's a better chance to use the mediums more at the end of the race rather than in this second stint. But yeah, Leclerc comes in, and Norris, Fittipaldi, Martins and Doohan all still going. I think they're trying a one-stop. You know, they're going really long here. And so now this is genuine traffic that Bortoleto, Albon, everyone needs to get through, as Bortoleto makes quick work of Doohan, the man who is trying to take off into a different country at Austria, as Verstappen now comes at us. We try to squeeze him, but he's actually faked this. He's gone from left to right. He's on the outside. He keeps his foot in, and he's actually got it down the inside. We're trying to go the other way round on the outside of left field. We make contact with him, though, and we can't quite get it. And Verstappen gets us for P9. So initially, I thought, okay, we've got past him, job done. But no, Verstappen is punching back a little bit. And in a race where seemingly our race pace really isn't there compared to maybe our rivals, this might be the fight. I mean, for the first time in Austria, we had a proper one-to-one with Verstappen for the first time as teammates. Is this going to be a second bout, a second chance to really go toe-to-toe with the Dutchman as we are gaining, and we're going to go for that late dive bomb into sector 3, try and get on the power and squeeze him out left, try and keep him tighter on the line, now brake early, try and cut in, didn't quite work though. Can we go for the second cut in and try and get an early exit? No, Verstappen remains there, but we do get a good exit, to be fair, but we've not got too much battery now, 3%, 4%. Single digits, never a good thing when you're trying to overtake someone, but we go for it into Village. We slow it up just about, went quite deep there, but we've actually got the move done. So that was actually quite a good dive on the inside of Village, and the crowd will be loving that on the grandstand there. But Verstappen now, annoyingly, actually probably gets the better chance to repass us as we go towards the Lovefield section. He actually doesn't get a good enough run, so we stay ahead of him for now. For now, he now winds through and may try his luck as we go towards Copse. Verstappen all up in the mirrors on the outside. Oh, big bit of contact there. Carbon fibre flailing off, we saw on the replay camera. I was ready for Verstappen to be on the inside of us, but he went for the outside pass on that small straight before Copse. Very, very peculiar. But to be fair, it worked. It surprised me, and he actually kept his foot in and got the job done. So he's back up into P9 as we, again, go for the swap, this time on the outside into the heart of Sector 3. You feel like if this was real life, you know, this is pretty good for the one-off livery, getting so much coverage here with us two fighting tooth and nail, and it's ultimately just for P9 and 10. This is really not the place you want to be fighting this hard for, and yet there is so much on the line. There is a lot of ego on the line here in this inter-team battle, and Verstappen is not letting up. This time he is on the inside as we run to Copse, side by side. We're on the outside. Oh, we were going to make contact. We've spun it. We're off at Copse, and we've done a Verstappen from 2021. Similar vibes. Verstappen, the one on the inside this time, and we're the ones in the wall. We're the Brit in the wall this time round. That was very odd. That was a very, very odd feeling watching that off-board camera of us spinning towards the wall. Oh, it's all gone wrong for us. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, you know, we were fighting for about 4 laps, so you feel like maybe at some point it was going to all boil over. I mean, I can't really fault Verstappen that much. I was just turning in to try and give him a bit of a squeeze, and you know what, more so than anything, it's just awful physics contact, wheel to wheel. The wheels have just like spun each other, and I've just spun way more than you probably would in real life if you made tire-to-tire contact like that. And the fact Verstappen came out with nothing is pretty incredible. And so that's put our race in the bin because we're like 36 seconds down the road now, having to make a pit stop just to change our front wing. And this is far too early of a pit stop for the next stint, considering we're on hard. So we kind of actually in the end ruined ourselves going on the hards because now we don't have a hard time to go to. We have to go to a medium. And that will probably mean a third stop, a 3 stop in this race. So it's the home race in British racing, green and yellow. And the stars haven't aligned for us. It's going to be a very long afternoon just trundling home. And really, honestly, I probably just would retire the car, but retiring the car will mean we can't watch the rest of this race. So we'll carry on in the background and we'll more so focus on the AI racing going on because there's still plenty of racing going on at the sharp end because Lando Norris leads this race legitimately at the moment because he's yet to make a pit stop. And the Ferraris, the Red Bull, McLaren, they have one more stop to make. Norris has one more stop to make. The same for Fittipaldi as well, as the Cadillac holds up Albon and is legit racing him for position. So this is quite cool. The first time we've really seen a lot of the Cadillac F1 car in this season, and that gorgeous blue and white livery with the Cadillac colours on the engine cover. Albon gets past him, and soon Leclerc will as well. Verstappen in no man's land then. He's too quick for Lawson, but he's not quick enough for Russell. I don't know. Aside from our crash, it was a pretty dire race anyway. I don't know where the pace has gone this episode. Like I said, it literally just could be the fact it's this track with the My Team car. It could be as simple as that, as we see an insane, hang on a minute, battle going on between the Ferraris. Are you seeing this? They jockey for position all the way through that section. Albon gets the better of Bortoleto for now, but if it's going to be Ferrari domination, at least we're getting a lovely battle all the way to the end of the race, hopefully, for that top spot. And who's going to be second? And for third, there's swapping going on between Russell and Leclerc. Russell tries to get it, and he has got the position for third place. So the Red Bull Ford snatches it away from the McLaren, who's been in third for most of the race, as Bortoleto's in. Russell. So maybe an undercut going on there, you know, into battle for Ferrari. And meanwhile, I'm just trying to see where Norris P12, so he was leading in that one-stop battle. And we see actually some great fighting going on, to be fair, for the bottom of the top 10 between the two Audis and the Honda. That's pretty good. So even though we're not in the fight, good to see that there is plenty of fighting going on in this race up and down the field, as Albon then comes in and he is actually overcut Bortoleto. That's a surprise. So Norris leads this race, Albon second, Bortoleto third, Martin's P5, Fittipaldi P7. So the two Cadillacs, are they vying for not only their first points of the season, but double points for Cadillac? That would be insane. And that's also beating Verstappen. Verstappen's down in P9. That's how little pace we've had, that we're going to get maybe beaten completely by the Cadillac team, as Albon defends from Bortoleto. Bortoleto getting past Norris, and Albon, sorry, getting past Norris as well. So less defense, more attack, as the two Ferraris get past the Mercedes. The Mercedes is probably going to fall away, being on the one stop. But I mean, Norris still may end up being in the top 5. Even if Russell and Leclerc get him, he'll be in top 5. And that's exactly what's going to happen, is it's going to be Verstappen eventually catching Doohan for P8. But on lap 23, as Stroll gets past Lawson, it's Albon from Bortoleto, Russell, Leclerc, Norris. And I think Martins and Fittipaldi, the American outfit, they're going to get double points in 6-7, and Verstappen is going to be behind in P8. That is pretty crazy, as Leclerc has actually maybe only just got past Norris, and actually Russell is actually giving the two Ferraris a bit of run for the money, bit of pressure here. Lap 24, 2 laps to go after this one. Is there going to be a lead change? I thought Albon maybe had this all sewn up, but the Brazilian, who impressed so much at the end of the Austrian Grand Prix previously, impresses again at the end of this race. He is pushing like a stabbed rat, or a stabbed black horse, I should say, in the prancing horse. And it's going to be Gabriel Bortoleto, the number 5 red car, once again wins at Silverstone. Bortoleto comes through to win it. It's a fabulous end for the race for him because I thought Albon really had it. And so that's Bortoleto really determined to make the most of a race that has been in tatters for the entire team here with the Verstappen P8. We're out the race. What happened today? Honestly, this is the biggest one-off livery curse that we've seen yet in the series. The British Racing Green did not do anything for us.
Right to the competition, and hello to the checkered flag. It's victory for Gabriel Bortoleto.
Yeah, big win for Bortoleto. It's a big 1-2 for Ferrari, to be honest, because this entire time, we've been very comfortable in the Constructors' Championship, but Ferrari will genuinely threaten us now with this 1-2, but we're down to P4. From P1 to P4, that's crazy. That's how much one bad race can affect us in a championship that is so close. And Bortoleto is coming strong at the right time as we enter now officially the second half of the season. And look at that, we're leading, but only by 17 points. Ferrari are gaining. It is game on in both championships. Guys, if you have enjoyed the episode, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. The British Grand Prix, always delivering absolute utter chaos and drama.